but really the success of the change isn't the technology or the new process, it's the adoption. And that's where everything, in my experience, has failed. Is, you know what? I brought the technology to the table. I revamped the process, set up a workflow, whatever the transformation idea is. So I make it a reality. But in order for that to be successful, there's a whole change management component here to drive that adoption throughout the organization, and that's where things normally get a little bit confusing, because the process is up and running, but no one's using it, no one's adopting it, and who drives the change management of that change. A lot of the times they look to IT, but IT, in my experience, isn't very well equipped to drive the change, the organizational change that goes hand in hand with the technology change. So I think that is the real challenge from an IT perspective. Is the idea is great, we just implemented it, now we need to use it, and how do you unless it's really fun and really sexy, which a lot of these aren't. How do you drive that adoption that you need to make it a success?
Bingo, because they're too quickly going off to chase the next shiny thing. And what you just did, unless it's adopted and leveraged, you look back in time, it dies on the vine, there's no value, it spirals down.
It almost seems like I'm an idea killer because, I put a reality lens on things.
We recognized that was a lacking that we had, and so we actually created a sub-team, which was a change management team, that actually worked side by side with the technology team right from the onset, because you need to start change management right from the onset. I think you can't put something out there and then bring change management in. It has to be right at the beginning. Why are you doing this? And as it's evolving, the change management team is working alongside the technology team, the business team, to really make sure that the adoption is almost starting and the buying is starting right at the beginning. And to that end, the team evolved so much that it became a standalone team. It was no longer part of technology. The organization realized the change is happening everywhere, not just in technology. And that change management team became a vital part of the whole organization. Of any change that was going on, there was a process to follow of how to implement that change.
What we did realize is that anytime we did these initiatives, there was zero adoption from a business perspective. It's like, well, I hate this tool, we're not using it, I want to use the old one. And so what we decided during that period of time was to put an OCM person in place. And the benefits that came out of that were astronomical, because every manager said, well, you're asking my opinion as to how to use this or what is actually going to come out of this change. And we got the best adoption of that product in any product in the history of our company. So to that point, it actually moved outside the business now. Now the business wants to take ownership of it. And they say, well, IT doesn't need to own that. And I agree with them. We don't need to own it, except it was out of necessity for us. Because, again, everything that we put in, we ended up having shelfware.
If there's no owner in the organization, like, I'll be blunt, I own it. I'll take it. And then eventually you might end up giving it away, right? But I hear a lot, I don't want that in my group. But you know what? If no one's going to embrace it, like you think of digital assets back in 2010, well, I own it, right? And then eventually as you start to organize it and get some cadence on it, it becomes a bit of a factory. You give it back to the department that actually owns it, right? And I think of through a career that, by owning it, you first of all understand the organization better, you can impact change, and then you can give something back to an organization that's actually running. So I think that's very key. I think the other part is the anthropological piece. You have to study people. But it's really about, like your team has to be embedded in groups. They have to be embedded with the stakeholders. Like we have a lot of stakeholders in our business that, they don't give us any revenue, but they help push and incent other people to give us, the business, right? So we feed them a lot. What makes their job easier, whether it's digital assets, whether it's portals of knowledge and information, and we provide it to them. But we do that by actually going out and meeting them and sitting down and talking to them what makes their job difficult. And it's an investment for us, but in the end, it actually works.